Hey! And welcome to Wrong Way! And this is the Hero S9 scooter. So let me tell you more about it. Wrong Way! And right away, also a huge thanks to Hero for sending me these scooters out for testing purposes. Hero is a pretty new company. They just came out with their two new scooters, the S8 and S9. I've already made a review on the S8 and it's linked here. And this is the other scooter, the S9, that they also sent over for testing, and definitely this is the one I like more. Good thumbs up. Both of these scooters come in different battery variants, so there's a 13 amp hour, 16 amp hour and 21 amp hour version, and it's a 48 volt system. With the 13 amp hour battery, which I got in both scooters, I have actually the same range. I did a single range test on each scooter, so 2 range tests, and it was 27.2 kilometers in both tests, so that's pretty ridiculous how similar they are. So definitely the same battery size, but if you want to get just a bigger battery, 21 amp hour is pretty big for such a small portable scooter. It's bigger than the 09 or TechLife X6. It's already getting into the bigger scooter category, so that's pretty cool. I gotta tell you guys that this scooter is just so much more comfortable than the S8, and mainly because of the tires, because the tires here are pneumatic tube tires, and in combination with the suspension, it just really works. I think it's actually the same or very similar suspension to the S8, maybe a bit different, but you can see here that when I just go over this cobblestone with the S9, I can really normally talk here, and I'm not like maybe just the tiniest bit, but overall I think that the comfort here is just so much better. There's not so many vibrations. I think that the suspension here just works a bit better, and especially over these train tracks, yeah, so much better. Okay, so now a bit of off-roading on the Hero S9. It's actually the same road I did on the S8, and the grip here is just so much better. Ooh, there's just a bit less torque, and as you can see in deep sand it can get stuck, which is very natural, but overall just the grip you have off-road, the comfort, suspension, everything just works so much better. Like this scooter, I sometimes occasionally went off-road just because I had fun in it. Like for a longer period of time, probably not. It's still a bit bumpy, and obviously it has small wheels, but it's definitely very much more bearable than the S8. So also in this category, I think that the S9 wins by a long shot. I think actually that it might be even a tiny bit better off-road than the TechLife X6 or the 09. So yeah, pretty good performance off-road, I gotta say, for such a small scooter. When it comes to the S9, the differences to the S8 are mostly in the motor power. It's 600 watt nominal, 1200 watt peak, and it has tube tires, 8.5 inch, so actually it should be called the Hero S 8.5 front and rear, and instead of disc brakes we have a set of drum brakes front and rear. Most of the other stuff is very similar. There's just a small different kicktail with a plexi element which broke off because that's what plexi does if there's like a lot of force on the rear footrest or kicktail, and rest of it's pretty much the same. There's also, this one came in the white color, and it also has these cool LEDs. There's like 16.1 million colors that you can select from, and they can be pulsing, they can just cycle through different colors. It's like a totally RGB setup, so you can just select the colors you like. When it comes to performance, it's actually very similar to the S8. So I was thinking there would be a bigger difference, but actually the S9 seems to be a bit quicker at the top end. It does make a couple degrees less in hill climbs. So in the S8 it was around 13 degrees, and in this one it was I think around 11, something like that. You can feel that it's just a bit less power. It will be just a small downgrade. Okay, so this is the same incline we tested before on the Hero S8, around 8 degrees. Let's see if the S9 can do it. No issues whatsoever. I even would say that it went a bit faster, possibly. I don't know. So loud. So this is around 12, I think, or 11. You can try it out. Okay, it still can do it. And we can also try this one in the garage. Okay, so now we try here. If it can't go up here, then it means it's actually weaker than the S8. And it can't. And without the lights. Also not. Okay, so the limit here is just a couple degrees less than on the S8. But other than that, it's pretty quick for a small scooter like this. It's pretty much in the Speedway Mini 4 Pro category, but maybe just a tad slower. So in terms of performance, it's just fine. Like it's listed for I think at around $1,000. I think it can be also cheaper. So I think that's totally fine for a scooter like that with a 21 amp hour battery. Maybe a bit on the expensive side, but then you also get a bigger battery. So I think that's totally reasonable. In the S8 review, I didn't really like this scooter, and it's not that I don't like the brand Hero, because this scooter, like, I would take this over a 09 because it just looks a bit different. The center of gravity is lower, and it has the RGB. It looks pretty cool, and it rides actually quite well. So because the scooter has tube tires up in the front and the rear, I think that it's actually like really comfortable. So when you're riding on just a worse quality road, you can feel the suspension working, but most importantly, you can feel that the tires are just good and soft. These are pretty narrow tires, 8.5 inch by 2 once again, and they provide you actually with a lot of comfort. So yeah, I did ride this thing a bit off-road, a bit on-road, and as opposed to the S8, I quite enjoyed it, surprisingly enough. So it folds the same way as the S8 once again. This is the folding mechanism, and it folds and locks in place. A bit bigger, thing to grasp here, that's what she said, and naturally it locks in place. The handlebar also can go down and up, and it's also a pretty tall handlebar, just like on the S8. Now, the similar story like on the S8, this thing, I think it's just a bit too short, and the handlebar tends to fall down over time. You just have to tighten it really strongly, and like on the 09, these things tend to get loose. You need to screw them in really strongly, and then they stay in place. Like, there's also a bell which sometimes gets stuck, like this, and I can't press it. I think it's like a special setting or something, I don't know. There's also the regular QSS4 display with all the settings. You can select your cruise control, you can select soft start, you can turn on or off regenerative braking. So that's also pretty cool. One thing that is not like the best is the brakes. Like I think the front brake is just not set up properly. It doesn't brake really a lot, but the rear brake brakes fine. I think it's better than, once again, I would choose this over a Speedway Mini 4 Pro because it has just, front and rear brakes, and it doesn't have the stupid solid tire in the rear. So that's also a bonus for riding in bad weather, and all in all, a good aspect into, the comfort. So it comes with just a single charger, 2 amps. Depending on the battery, you'll charge, well, what? With the smallest battery, you'll charge around 6 to 7 hours. With the biggest battery, you'll charge around 10 hours. So no fast charging options yet that I know of. There's also like the small cavities here and in the rear where I think water can ingress, but once again I didn't open the scooter up. But as you can see, I think it's just on the side. It doesn't go on the inside. I will have to open the scooter up to see if it's like totally weatherproof. But Hero advertises it as IP54, IPX4 water resistant. So you know that should be the case, but we don't know. On the rear, it's once again these holes here, but on the front, it looks pretty good in terms of water sealing. There's like no points where water can ingress. You think it's waterproof, Jacek?
It should be.
Should be. So, you know, also here on the cables, there's like small rubber pieces. But one thing I don't like about it is this. So the rear brake is just down low, and it's easy just to, you know, hit it with a curb or with some bigger stone, or even if you like turn right sharply, you know, there's like very little clearance. So that's maybe something Hero could, you know, fix by putting the brake just a bit higher up. In the front, it's also pretty down low, but it's closer to the wheel, so it looks a bit better there. So yeah, kickstand, pretty nice. Grip tape, pretty nice. The footrest could be a bit bigger, but other than that, I think that's a pretty cool scooter. That, you know, a bit higher league than the 9bot Maxes and, you know, the Xiaomi's and E12s or E2Ws, or whatever they're called, but lower league than the 010Xs, Tech Life X7s, and also smaller. So I think this is a pretty cool scooter. If you want a scooter to commute throughout the city, just get the biggest battery, and I think you'll be all set. And the weird thing is that around at 25 kilometers an hour, this scooter is the loudest. Yeah, so 25 kilometers an hour. And once again later, I think at around 30. And especially also when you brake, it's really loud. It's a loud scooter, right? So, if you're still here, leave a like on the video, subscribe to see more content like this. I'll see you in the next video. See you soon. You spin me right round.